In the kingdom of Odum, the land of lions, there was a king named Ada-eze. Now, if you looked up the word desperation in the dictionary of the gods, you would find a picture of this king. He was a powerful man, a warrior whose sword had tasted the blood of 1,000 enemies. He had land, he had gold, he had cattle that covered the hills like clouds. But he did not have the one thing that gives an African man peace of mind: a son. You see, in Odum, a king without a son is like a lion without teeth. He can roar, but nobody fears him. The tradition was clear. If the king died without a male heir, the throne would pass to his younger brother, Chief Igam. And Chief Igam? That man was a snake. He walked with a limp, not because of war, but because he was weighed down by jealousy. He smiled with his teeth, but his eyes were always calculating, always counting the days until the king would die. Ada-eze had married 7 wives. 7. And all of them gave him daughters. Beautiful daughters, smart daughters, but to the king, they were just useless flowers. He wanted a tree. He wanted an iroko. When his first wife, Olori became pregnant again, the king issued a decree that shook the village. He stood in the market square, his voice booming like thunder. If this child is a boy, the kingdom will feast for 7 days. But if it is another girl, do not bring it to me. Bury it in the evil forest. I will not be mocked by my brother any longer. The village went silent. The birds stopped singing. Olori, rubbing her swollen belly, felt a cold shiver run down her spine. She knew the king was not joking. His obsession had turned into madness. On the night of the birth, the rain fell as if the sky was weeping for what was about to happen. Olori labored in secret, attended only by an old midwife named Mama Zuri, who was deaf and dumb, but saw everything. After hours of pain, a cry pierced the night. Then another. Twins. Olori looked between her legs, praying to the ancestors. Her heart stopped. 2 girls. They were beautiful, small, and perfect. But to the queen, they looked like death sentences. She saw the executioner's blade hovering over their tiny necks. She looked at Mama Zuri. The old woman looked back, sadness in her eyes. Outside, the king's guards were waiting. Olori! The king demands news. Is it a lion or a flower? Olori looked at her babies. She looked at the door. A madness took over her, the madness of a mother who refuses to let her children die. She wiped the sweat from her face. She grabbed a piece of cloth and bound the babies tightly. She looked at the guard through the crack in the door and shouted the lie that would change the destiny of the kingdom. Go tell the king! The gods have smiled double. It is not just a lion. It is 2 lions. 2 princes have been born. The jubilation in the kingdom was deafening. The king was so happy he danced in the rain. He named them Teo and Kenny. He didn't know their real names should have been Taiwo and Kehind. But for Olori the celebration was a funeral. She had bought her daughters' lives, but she had sold their freedom. From the day they could walk, the deception began. Most mothers teach their daughters how to cook, how to braid hair, and how to walk with grace. Olori taught her daughters how to frown. Don't swing your hips, she would whisper, slapping their legs with a small stick. Walk like you own the ground. Stomp. Keep your chest flat. Don't smile too much. Men don't smile unless they have killed something. She bound their chests with tight leather strips every morning. She cut their hair low, scraping the scalp. She dressed them in heavy tunics. But the hardest part was not the clothes. It was the mind. Teo was naturally aggressive. She took to the role easily. She loved wrestling. She loved climbing trees. She had a voice that was naturally deep. But Kenny was soft. You must kill the girl inside you, Olori told Kenny one night, holding her face by the firelight. If the girl shows her face, even for 1 second, your father will cut off our heads. Do you understand? You are not a girl. Kenny cried that night, but she swallowed her tears. She learned to spit on the ground. She learned to deepen her voice. She learned to look at people with hard, unfeeling eyes. The king was proud. Oh, he was proud. He would sit on his throne and watch his sons fight in the dusty courtyard. Look at them, he would boast to Chief Icum. Look at Teo's fist. Chief Icum would sip his palm wine. His eyes narrowed like a cobra. Yes, my king. They are late bloomers. The king would roar, like their father. But Icum was not convinced. He smelled a rat. And he began to watch. Years passed. The twins turned 16. This is the age when nature becomes an enemy to secrets. Their bodies were rebelling against the lie. Their hips wanted to widen. Their voices wanted to soften. Olori Ronk became a herbalist of necessity. She brewed bitter concoctions made of roots and bark mixtures meant to suppress hormones, stop the monthly bleeding, and harden the voice. The twins drank the vile black liquid every morning without complaint. It tasted like ash and regret. But the biggest danger was the bath. In Yumu Odom, men bathed together in the communal stream to discuss war and politics. The twins could never join them. We made a vow to the river god, Teo told the other young warriors, a lie her mother had crafted. We must bathe only in the palace, in total darkness, until we are 80. If the sun sees our nakedness, we will lose our strength. The warriors thought it was strange, but they respected it. Superstition is strong in Africa. However, Chief Icum had a son named Obena. Obena was arrogant, strong, and suspicious because his father whispered poison in his ear daily. One hot afternoon, the twins were training in the forest, far from the palace. They were exhausted. The leather bindings on their chests were digging into their skin, making it hard to breathe. I can't do it anymore, Teo, Kenny gasped, collapsing on the grass. I can't breathe. I need to take it off. Just for a minute. Are you mad? Teo hissed, scanning the trees. If someone sees... We are miles away, Kenny cried. Please, my skin is bleeding. Teo looked at her sister's pain. She nodded. Quickly. Kenny unwrapped the heavy leather. She sighed in relief as her chest expanded. For a moment, she wasn't a prince. She was just a young woman feeling the wind on her skin. Crack. A twig snapped. Teo spun around, drawing her sword in a blur of motion. Standing behind a baobab tree, with eyes as wide as saucers, was a village hunter. He had seen the unmistakable curves of a woman. He dropped his bow. He turned to run. Stop him! Kenny screamed, scrambling to cover herself. Teo didn't hesitate. She didn't think. She sprinted like a leopard. The hunter was fast, but fear made him clumsy. He tripped over a root. Teo was on him in a second. The sword was at his throat. Please, the hunter begged. I won't tell, I swear by the gods. Teo's hand trembled. She had never killed a man. She was a prince, but she still had the heart of a girl who was raised to nurture, not destroy. Let him go, Teo, Kenny whispered, coming up behind her, adjusting her tunic. He swore. Teo looked into the hunter's eyes. She saw the fear, but she also saw the gossip. She knew that in a village, a secret shared is a secret blown. I'm sorry, Teo whispered. She didn't kill him. She knocked him unconscious with the hilt of her sword. We have to leave, Teo said, panting. He will wake up, he will talk. We have to tell Mother. But they didn't know that the hunter wasn't the only one in the forest. High up in a tree, watching birds, was Obina, the uncle's son. He hadn't seen their bodies clearly, but he had seen the panic. He had seen the unwrapping. And he had a smile on his face that could curdle milk. The hunter disappeared. The queen had him sent away to a distant farm. Before he could wake up and talk, a dark favor she called in from a loyal guard. But the damage was done. Whispers were starting. Why do the princes walk like that? Why do they have no hair on their legs? Why are their voices so smooth? Chief Icum went to the king. My king, Icum said, bowing low. The people are talking. They say your sons are soft. They say they are not real men. The twins turn 18 in 2 weeks. It is time for the Eyes Agba. The king frowned. The Eyes Agba. That is an old tradition. We haven't done it in years. Exactly. Icum smiled wickedly. The test of manhood. On their 18th birthday, they must strip to the waist in the market square. wrestle the strongest challenger, and then be washed in the public fountain by the high priest. Only then can they be declared heirs to the throne. The king, stung by the insult that his sons were soft, slammed his fist on the table. It shall be done. My sons are lions. They have nothing to hide. On their birthday, they will shame you, Icum. They will strip. They will fight. And the whole world will see that I have produced men. When Olory heard the news, she fainted. There was no way out. The Agba was public. Thousands of eyes. Total exposure. The lie was over. The night before the 18th birthday, the palace was buzzing with preparation. Drums were beating. Cows were being slaughtered. Inside the queen's chambers, the air was thick with terror. We must run, Olory whispered, packing a small bag of gold. Tonight, I have bribed the gatekeeper. We will go to the north. We will change our names. Teo sat on the edge of the bed, sharpening her sword. She looked tired. Run to where, mother? We have lived as princes for 18 years. I don't know how to be a commoner. I don't know how to be a woman. Better a live commoner than a dead prince. Ronk snapped. Your father will kill us all before the sun sets tomorrow. Kenny was standing by the window, looking at the moon. She turned around, and there was a strange fire in her eyes. No, Kenny said softly. What did you say? The queen asked. I said no, we are not running. Kenny walked to the center of the room. Father wants sons? We have given him sons. We have fought his wars, we have sat in his councils. We are more men than Obina will ever be. Biology does not care about your feelings, Ronk cried. Once the shirt comes off, it is death. Then the shirt won't come off, Teo said, standing up. We will fight. We will refuse the ritual. You cannot refuse tradition. Then we will change the tradition, Teo said, or we will die fighting. But I will not run like a thief in the night from a kingdom that I built. The twins hugged their mother. It felt like a goodbye. Outside, in the shadows of the corridor, Chief Agam was listening. He didn't hear the details, but he heard the fear. He rubbed his hands together. Tomorrow, he whispered to the darkness. Tomorrow the crown is mine. The sun rose on the 18th birthday like a judgment. The market square was packed. The dust rose in clouds as dancers stomped the earth. The drums were talking, telling stories of bravery and blood. The king sat on his high throne, wearing his best robes. Chief Ikam sat next to him, grinning like a hyena. Bring out the princes, the herald shouted. Teo and Kenny marched out. They looked magnificent in their royal regalia. But under the heavy embroidery, their hearts were hammering against their ribs like trapped birds. They were bound tighter than ever before. The crowd cheered. Hail the lions! Hail the future kings! The king stood up. My people! Today, my sons become men. They will prove to you that the blood of the tiger runs in their veins. He turned to the high priest. Begin the Agba. The high priest, an ancient man with chalk around his eyes, stepped forward. He held a bowl of sacred water. Princes, the priest croaked, remove your tunics. Let the wind touch your chests. Let the water cleanse your skin. The drums stopped. The silence was absolute. Teo and Kenny stood side by side. They didn't move. Princes? The priest asked. Chief Ikam stood up. Why do they hesitate? Are they shy? Or are they hiding something? The crowd murmured. Strip! Ikam shouted. Show us the chests of men. Teo looked at Kenny. They nodded. Teo stepped forward. I will not strip, she announced, her voice booming with the depth she had practiced for years. A king does not need to be naked to prove his power. My sword is my proof. My scars are my proof. Abomination. Ikam screamed. He refuses because he cannot. He is not a man. He is a woman. They are both women. The accusation hung in the air like smoke. The king's face went purple. Ikam, take that back or I will cut out your tongue. The king roared. I will prove it. Ikam jumped down from the dais. He signaled his son Obina. Obina! Tear the clothes off them. Obina and 4 guards rushed the twins. "Defend yourselves!" Teo shouted to Kenny. It was chaos. The twins drew their swords. They fought with the skill of warriors. Clang, clash. They moved back to back, a whirlwind of steel. They knocked the guards down. They disarmed Obina. But there were too many of them. A guard managed to grab Kenny from behind. He ripped the back of her heavy tunic. The fabric tore. The leather binding underneath snapped. Kenny gasped as the binding unraveled. The tunic fell open. The crowd gasped. There was no hiding it. The curves were undeniable. Icum laughed. A loud, victorious laugh. See? The king has been feeding us lies. He has given us girls to rule over men. Abomination. The king stood frozen. He looked at Kenny. He looked at Teo, who had stopped fighting, seeing her sister exposed. The king's face crumbled. The shame was absolute. He looked at Alori Ronk, who was weeping in the stands. "You ... the king whispered. Then he roared. "You made me a fool." He drew his own sword, the heavy executioner's blade, and marched toward his daughters. "Father!" Teo cried, stepping in front of Kenny. "We are your children. We have loved you." "I have no daughters," the king screamed. "I have no sons. I have only shame, and today I wash my honor in blood." He raised the sword to strike Teo down. The sword came down. Clang, it did not hit flesh. It hit another sword, but it wasn't Teo's sword. It was the sword of the general of the army, the strongest warrior in the land, a man named General Zuma, who had trained the twins since they were 5. "General?" the king gasped. "You dare stop your king?" General Zuma pushed the king back. He looked at the twins. "I have watched these boys fight better than any man in this kingdom. I have watched them bleed for this land. If being a man means having a dangling piece of flesh, then I am not interested. But if being a king means having the heart of a lion, then these are the kings the first serve." The soldiers behind him banged their shields. Boom. They stood with the twins. The king was shocked. He turned to the crowd. "They are women! It is forbidden." But then, Alori Ronk stood up. She wiped her tears. She walked into the center of the arena. "Forbidden?" she asked, her voice shaking but loud. "You want to talk about forbidden things, my husband?" She looked at Chief Icum. She looked at the king. "Why do you think you have no sons, Adegboyega?" she asked. The king growled. "Because my wives are weak." "No," Ronk said. She pointed a finger at the king. "Because you are not the father." The silence was so heavy you could hear a pin drop in the sand. "What?" the king whispered. "You are sterile," Ronk announced. "You have always been. The 7 daughters you have, they are not yours. We, your wives, had to find other ways to give you children so you wouldn't kill us for being barren." The crowd gasped. The king staggered back, clutching his chest. "But ... Ronk pointed at the twins. These two? These two are different. When you threatened to kill my babies if they were girls, I prayed to the gods. I didn't sleep with a man. I slept at the shrine of the river goddess." She looked at the twins with pride. "They are not the daughters of a man. They are not the sons of a man. They are children of the spirit. That is why they are stronger than you. That is why they could fool the world." The king looked at Icum. Icum was laughing. "You see? He is a mule, a gelding. He is not a king." Icum raised his sword. "I am the true heir. Seize the throne." Icum lunged at the broken king. But before Icum could strike, a spear flew through the air. Thwack! It pierced Icum's chest. He fell dead. The spear had been thrown by Teo. Teo stood there, her chest now exposed, her leather bindings hanging loose. She didn't look like a boy. She didn't look like a girl. She looked like a god of war. "Enough!" Teo roared. Her voice was not deep because she was pretending. It was deep because it carried authority. She walked up to the king, her father, who was broken, weeping on his knees. "You wanted a son so badly," Teo said, looking down at him. that you missed the two warriors standing right in front of you. She turned to the crowd. My name is Taiwo. This is Kahind. We are women, and we are the kings of this land. Anyone who objects, step forward. Obina, the cousin, looked at his dead father. He looked at the general. He dropped his sword. One by one, the men in the crowd bowed, not because of tradition, but because power respects power. The king was not killed. That would be too easy. He was banished to the chambers of the women, forced to live out his days listening to the gossip he despised, cared for by the wives he had called weak. Taiwo and Kan took the throne. They did not rule as queens. They created a new title, Aba Aben Rin, the king women. They changed the laws. They stopped the killing of girl children. They allowed women to train in the army. And on their 18th birthday, every year they held a festival. Not a festival of wrestling or washing, but a festival of masks where every child, boy or girl, could wear a mask and be whoever they wanted to be until they were strong enough to show their true face to the world. So, my people, listen to me. Do not force a tree to be a river. Do not force a girl to be a boy. Because the spirit within a child is stronger than the rules of any king. And if you ever meet a woman who walks with the stride of a lion, do not ask her who her father is. Ask her what she has conquered. For sometimes the